What if the reason your business feels heavier than it should has nothing to do with effort, strategy, or consistency? That's the question I couldn't ignore when I looked back at my 2025. On paper, it was a strong year. I worked with incredible clients, I did meaningful work, I had a business that kept running even while I had another baby and my capacity changed in very real ways. And yet, it still wasn't my most profitable year. That contradiction forced me to get radically honest because the answer was not to do more in a season where more simply was not available. What actually needed to change was how I positioned myself inside of my own business and how much power I was still unconsciously giving away. This episode is all about that realization because premium positioning isn't just about raising your prices and hoping your nervous system can keep up. It only works when your identity, your offers, and your messaging are truly aligned. If you miss one of those three things, the whole thing will eventually crack. Now, in part one of this series, I shared the identity work that had to come first, especially in a postpartum season with a toddler and a newborn. And today, I'm taking you inside the practical shifts that work is now creating and the decisions that are reshaping my business for good. So, if you've built something successful, but it feels heavier than it should, or you've hit a ceiling that you can't just logic your way past, this episode is for you. Now, this episode is part two, and this is where premium positioning stops being a concept and starts requiring real choices. Now, if you haven't listened to part one was all about the internal work that has to happen before premium positioning can stick. So go ahead, pause this episode. Be sure to listen to that one first because that one is going to set up everything we're talking about today. Now, premium positioning actually requires a lot more than just deciding to raise your prices. There are three critical ingredients that have to work together in order to raise your prices and to step into premium positioning online. First is internal alignment. That's really getting your identity to a place where that pricing actually matches what you believe about yourself. Number two is structural changes, offer realignment to actually deliver on a premium promise. And then part three is external communication. That is your messaging, how you're showing up publicly, and the way you're speaking about the work that you do that actually speaks to premium level clients. Now, if any one of these is not aligned, it's not going to work. And that's why today I want to get into the practical changes that are coming this year in my business, specifically around offers and messaging as a result of the identity work that I am doing and continuing to do this year. So let's talk about offer realignment. Now, as I mentioned in part one, a big thing that is making this year different than the last few years is really focusing on choosing me and my needs, my energy, my preferences first when it comes to offer design, services, who we work with, how we work with them. And I know that might sound like, why wouldn't you pick yourself and why wouldn't you think about what you actually want to do when you're designing your business? But when you've been in business as long as I have and you've worked with hundreds of people and you have that mindset of wanting to create a really awesome experience for people, you just get into this place where it's really easy to start bending to just what either your clients are asking for, what you think the market is moving towards, what you see your competitors doing. There's just so much baggage that can start to get dragged along when you've been in business for over 14 years, like I have. But all of that to say, sometimes you have to really make a big change. And I don't want to say start from scratch, but it might require some pretty massive changes to what's already working. So that's where one of the big decisions that I made has come in. Now, if you're on my email list, you would have already gotten an email about this. And this was a really big decision for me, but it is something that I'm actually really excited about, even with some of the anxiety that came up during the decision-making process. So, the big decision that is being driven from this identity shift is that I am actually closing my main program, the Nourish Business Accelerator. I'm closing it for enrollment at the end of this month, and I'm never running it again the way that it is currently in operation. Now, the NBA program has been massively successful. We have done somewhere between $2 and $3 million just from that one program. The curriculum is excellent. I've created these really awesome AI tools that help support implementation. I have a well trained team of support coaches who are able to guide our clients through the process and understand how to support them. We've served over 400 clients in that program since 2020, and I'm really, truly proud of what I've created and what I've refined and adapted to over the past 5 to 6 years in this program. But here's the truth that I have started to realize as time has gone on, as the market has gotten more sophisticated, as the market has shifted. Beginners, like brand new beginners, people who have never made a sale online or are really struggling to make sales online, they don't need direct access to my coaching in order to get launched. Now, that was a really big decision because we've worked with beginners pretty much since the beginning, no pun intended. And I know that our systems and our processes do actually work for beginners. But what I was finding is that my ability to coach, my ability to teach, the things that I'm aware of, the things that I can help my clients with is actually so advanced that coaching beginners on those exact topics is actually more than what they need. And in the service of people at that level, I want to make sure we're actually giving them what they need. So they don't need direct access to me. What they need is my systems, my curriculum that is narrowed down to actually focus on beginners. And they need implementation support. A lot of them have mentioned to me, especially in sales conversations, that they really want accountability and just having that hand holding, which is fine. But that is not what I do as a coach. That is not my skill set. That is not what I want to be doing. And I realized that I was accommodating that desire because I really wanted to help everybody that came my way versus deciding, hey, we have this team of awesome coaches who that is what they do best. Why don't we hand off the accountability, the hand holding, the implementation support at that level to the people who are really good at it on my team? So that I can focus on the stuff that I am best at, which a lot of times has a lot more to do with advanced strategy. So I've made a huge decision to, first of all, close enrollment for this program. This program has been for sale, making enrollments for close to 6 years now. And I just decided that if I'm going to actually make these changes, I need to close the doors for a bit. It's kind of like if a restaurant is doing some major renovations, they're not going to have people in the restaurant eating at the tables while they're like stripping drywall. So that's what we're doing with this program. We're basically like stripping it down to the studs and rebuilding it. And in the meantime, I am not going to be doing any enrollment for that program while we are reimagining and rebuilding things. So that was a really big decision because that is like a $30,000 to $50,000 per month income stream for our business. And, it is my signature program. It's the program I'm known for. And so to turn that off and to rebrand it, redo it, turn it into something new, create new offers from the bones of that program was a really big decision, but I know it's the right one. Now, I'm not doing this because the program doesn't work. I'm not doing this because I don't like it or I don't like the people I'm working with. It's really about restructuring this so that not only it works best for me and what I'm excited about helping people with, but that it also meets the readiness of the client where they're at. And we got into the situation where we were really putting too wide of a range of people into this program. Not to say that it couldn't help them, but it was just too much. And I did an episode on trends that I'm forecasting for this year in the online space. And one of those things is that these big kitchen sink offers that try to offer everything to any person who could work with you are not going to sell as well. And that's what NBA had really become. It's this kitchen sink, like literally every single topic my clients would ask questions about, I would put some curriculum in there about it. And it just got too big. That's just something that can happen after 6 years of running a program and hundreds of clients. But I just got to a place this year where I was like, this is not ideal anymore for me, for my clients, for everyone involved. And so I really want to start splitting this up into different types of offers that are appropriate for where people are at. So really the main thing I'm doing is adjusting the type of curriculum that is in the offers that I'm going to be redesigning. And then also adjusting the access to me based on the readiness of the client for what my skills are best for supporting for. So right now, NBA is my highest touch group program, basically my only group program, but people get a ton of access to me, which is awesome for them. And I do love working with people. I don't dislike working with beginners, but My skill set is really best for intermediate and advanced business owners. And so, what I'm doing is really concentrating me and my energy into an offer that is focused on that level of client and making it so that if we have a beginner level client, they can still get help from my team, from the curriculum that I've designed to work for beginners, but they don't necessarily need direct coaching from me. My best work is working with people who already are established. They have momentum that we can build on. I'm able to help people make massive momentum when they already come in with some momentum. And that's where I really want to be focusing my time and energy. The people who get the best and fastest results from working with me are the ones who are already ready for that level of strategic creativity that I bring when somebody already has the essentials locked in. So, this is somebody who has already been through significant mindset work. Not to say that they're done, because honestly, I don't think you're ever done with mindset work, but this isn't their first rodeo, right? This isn't the first time they're actually examining, hey, maybe my mindset needs some work to improve the results that I'm getting in my business. There's somebody who they already have a level of the foundation set, and it doesn't mean that they wouldn't be improving it, because I do work with a lot of people who come in with a kind of cracked foundation from other coaches or other things that they've been through, but they're not just like building from zero. They're not like digging the foundation right now. They now need the diagnostic pattern recognition and systems optimization. That's my unique zone of genius. And honestly, that type of work is what really energizes me. It's what lights me up. I love it. I love that diagnostic systems type of work. And to be fair, if you don't have a business, there's nothing to diagnose and to work on from a systems level. You're putting the bones in place, you're actually building things. And the frameworks we have from the NBA program are perfect for that, but that doesn't require me to be so involved to be able to teach that. So that's really one of the big things, is just that people don't need me to be coaching them to be able to build from the ground up. People need my services when it gets into more of that diagnostic work to find what's not working as well as it could be working, how to make things more efficient, more profitable, all the things that are really enhancing what's already there. Now, I'm also super excited to start layering in some of my neuro-linguistic programming training into this because, as I mentioned before, mindset work is never done. But a lot of times you don't really get into that deep mindset work until you're actually making progress and you're hitting walls. So I want to be able to work with more established clients with that NLP strategy because, like I said, there's no level of success that eliminates mindset work. But for me, it's a lot more fun to be able to work with people who already have the foundations in place. They're already making sales, and we can get so much result from just one NLP session. So I just worked with somebody recently who she went through the MBA program, she had upgraded to one-on-one work with me. And then we had one NLP session where we got into some of the beliefs that were driving her actions as a business owner. And she actually hit her first 10K months of sales. So 1 month where 10K plus was projected, I guess is the word for that, after one session with me. So this client had been working on increasing and hitting that 10K goal for months. And that session where we went into the deeper mindset stuff really unlocked something for her where all of a sudden she was showing up totally differently. So I love doing that kind of stuff. And honestly, that's what I really want to be doing with my time now that I've been in business for 14 years. I've been doing this work for so long. I just get really lit up by helping people who are already moving just move faster. And that's where I feel like the NLP stuff can really, really benefit someone. And it's really easily able to create value for them very quickly. So when I'm able to help somebody who's already successful break through their ceiling, break through their plateau, and really hit a new level very quickly, that is where I thrive as a coach. And that's where I want to be putting my time, my energy, my focus, mostly because I really just do not have as much time and energy and focus as I used to before having kids for sure. And then even adding kid number two, I really have to be very mindful of where I'm putting my time, where I'm putting my energy. And I want my time and energy to have the biggest impact possible. So that's why I'm going to be basically dismantling the NBA program, taking the parts that are appropriate for the different types of business owners and putting them in the right offer for the right entry level or intermediate level type of business owners. So that way they're getting what they need, we're supporting them effectively, and I'm able to concentrate my time and energy on the people who are truly ready for the service that I'm able to provide at my highest level. So, we are going to have 3 different tiers in the business, which might sound complicated, but honestly, it's really not as complicated as it might sound. We're really basing those 3 tiers off of readiness and what the clients actually need, as well as where I wanna be spending my time. So, we're gonna have an entry-level program that is primarily delivered by our support coaches. I will be having some touch points, having some hot seat type of support for the group in general, but that's gonna be mostly my support coaches supporting that program, and it's still gonna be the essential curriculum that is for beginners, but it's not gonna be the entire curriculum from the MBA program. So they're gonna get the most important parts of the curriculum, they're gonna get the relevant AI tools, they're gonna have that implementation support from my team of coaches. Those entry-level clients are gonna have everything that they need to launch and build their foundation, and what that allows me to do is to not lose all of this amazing curriculum that we have that is appropriate for beginners, but it allows me to free myself energetically from so much of the beginner support and really go deep and not so broad with the people who are more ready for what I'm capable of. Now, that's the entry level. And then on the top, we have our premium strategic advisory offer. That is my one-on-one offer. That one's pretty customizable, but essentially I only work with a few one-on-one clients a year. And the people who are at the advisory level are going to be the people who have already hit 20, 30, 50K months, but they know they're working way too hard to make the money that they're making. Maybe their profit margin isn't where they want it to be, so they're making all this revenue, but they're not keeping enough of it. Maybe they've been in business for a long time and that everything's just starting to feel heavy and they want to get the joy back in their business. These are the kind of people I work with at that one-on-one advisory level. That's one of those offers that it's like very limited availability, high ticket, very high access to me, and I'm only going to have a few people per year that are actually able to access that particular offer. So that higher level offer, that one that is really that advisory level, that's not changing a ton. I'll probably be raising the price on that just because, again, I don't need to be working with every single person at that level to help them get a result. And the people who I want to work with at that level are already doing multi six, even close to 7 figures. And I want to help them increase their sales, increase their profit margins, so not spend as much money to make the sales, reduce how much energy that they're putting into selling so that they can actually have some systems that do most of the selling for them and really create that lifestyle business that they want without having to do so much heavy lifting to get the sales that they want to get. So we've talked about the entry level offer as well as the highest level offer. Entry level is for anyone who is wanting to start a business, to create a signature program, to really get their foundations built the right way so that they can grow quickly. And then my advisory level is for the person who's already at multi six figures or more and wants to make more money, work less, have more profit, and really enjoy their work again. At the center of my offer suite, that is really what's going to be my new signature offer. And I'm keeping some of the details close to the chest because we haven't made all the decisions yet. This will be something that is rolling out over the next 3 to 6 months. But we're going to have this signature offer container that is my main program that I'm going to spend the bulk of my coaching time, my curriculum development time, my energy. And it's going to be limited in spots. It's going to be significantly higher investment than the NBA program has been historically. And one of the biggest changes that is going to happen with this offer is that it's not going to be evergreen enrollment. So actually, I'm probably not going to have most of my programs be evergreen enrollment at this point. Something that I've realized over the course of the last few months and really just have been noticing some misalignment over the last year or so is that I actually don't love the experience of running an evergreen group program because my energy, my personality type really benefits from leading a group through a journey and having a really clearly defined start and end point. And with the evergreen model, I know it can be helpful when somebody wants to join and get help and they can join right away. But I don't personally love the experience of the revolving door where people come in and leave, and I'm not personally there with them in that energy because somebody new is coming in or somebody else is leaving. And I know that works for a lot of people, so there's nothing wrong with the evergreen model, but I just really miss the cohort experience where I am leading a group, leading that energy through a process. Everybody's on the same general timeline, and that energy shift is happening as a collective group as opposed to, again, everybody's on their own timeline. So that's a big change for me because we've been doing evergreen for a few years at this point. I used to do cohort for NBA and then we switched it to evergreen, and I just really don't feel like it's the right fit for me. And I actually don't think it's necessarily the right fit for my clients either. So we are going to be changing my main program into one that's a cohort model, open and close. When it's closed, it's closed. You can't get in. And we're also keeping the numbers of people accepted into the program limited to make sure that I'm able to support people at that level that allows me to get into that nitty-gritty diagnostic systems type of work that works much better when I'm focusing going deep with a smaller number of people versus having a large number of people all at once. So that is a big change, right? Going from evergreen to cohorts, or I guess back to cohorts, limiting spots, making sure that everybody's got as much access to me as they need to be successful. And I'm also going to be creating some I don't want to say basic, creating some essential qualifications that even allow somebody to join that program in the first place. So that's another big change. We can talk about that. I'll probably talk about that more on this episode or on this podcast in general, because I had gotten more loose with my expectations around what people had to accomplish to get to a certain level to work with me. And I've had this experience enough times over the last few years where I realized that's actually not good for them. It's not good for me. And I really have to have stronger boundaries around who is allowed to work with me at a certain level so that they actually can get the best results and that I enjoy the process of working with them in the maximum level. So this centerpiece offer of my offer suite is going to be limited to probably somewhere between like 15 to 25 max clients. And it's going to be open close cart. So we're not going to be enrolling it year round, and we're going to have a start and an end date for everybody. So that is a huge change from what we've been doing over the last couple of years. And inside that container is where I'm going to do the deepest group strategic work, where I'm going to really get to know every single business owner very well and be able to coach them very deeply. I'm going to be able to do those NLP mindset sessions. I'm able to use that diagnostic skill set that I have, that pattern recognition that I'm uniquely positioned to deliver. I'm going to be able to do that in such a more effective way with this smaller group cohort style. You have to actually qualify to get in type of program. So this is really going to be for those coaches and practitioners who are already established. They're ready for that level of strategic partnership. They already have something to work on that's working and they want it to work better. And it's going to be a much more exclusive type of offer than what the NBA has been historically. So at this point, with this 3-tier offer suite, pretty much everything in my business is going to either direct people to that signature offer, serve the people that are ready for that, or if somebody's not ready for it, we will have that entry point offer that can help get them ready. So that's the really big change that I'm making with my offer suite. And I might sell some stuff year round, but really what this is going to do is allow me to have 4 months out of the year where I'm doing more intense selling periods, and then have the other 8 months of the year focused on serving and delivering my programs, which I'm actually really excited about. I'm the kind of person that loves that burst of energy and then a little bit of a hibernation period. And so selling all the time has just not been a good fit for me, is what I'm realizing. Evergreen's not wrong. I have plenty of clients who do evergreen and have a really awesome experience, do great with sales, love it. I really think it has a lot to do with just your personality type. But for me, I need that collective start and end energy to lead people with, and that really does require that cohort. I want to feel that sense of completion. I really want to feel like I can put a bow on the work that I'm doing with people instead of just feeling like people are coming and going. And again, that's probably just like how I feel about it, but that is something that an evergreen model creates, and I don't want to experience that anymore. So, this is going to let me see the transformation that's happening with people, really get to know people at that deep level. I'm not going to have to be managing onboarding and offboarding at different stages, different times. It's really gonna just give me that sense of like, "Okay, you guys are in, we're here, we're doing this, let's go deep," and that's what I'm really looking forward to, and ultimately, this is what's best for me, and this really has to do with me no longer giving my power away to what the industry says scaling should look like or what is, like, the better way to sell your offers. I know a lot of people are like, "Launches are dead, launches are stressful." I actually kinda liked launching, and we did really well with launching when we were doing it, so I'm actually really excited to bring that model back into the business and to get to a place where that collective energy is, like, we dive in all together with that energy at the same time. So, again, this is going to require me to have much more strict qualifications for the people that come into the signature program, and one of the things I know I need to do is to really trust myself and my assessment of who's ready for this offer. It's really easy to decide that just because somebody can pay you that that means that they're ready to work with you, and ultimately, I've realized over the last few years that just because somebody can pay me doesn't mean that they're ready to actually work with me at the level that I am best qualified to serve. I also I mentioned this in the first episode or first part of this series. Just because somebody has their own internal urgency, their own desperation, their own, like, I need you to fix my business for me, just because somebody else wants me to do something does not mean that I am obligated to take them on as a client just because they want to pay me. So I am going to be using my really that clinical diagnostic expertise that used to serve me so well as a nutritionist. I'm going to be applying that to my business and especially during the enrollment process. I'm gonna be assessing people's readiness, their capacity, the current structure that exists in their business and the structural needs that they have, and it's not gonna be about just who can afford my prices. Yes, obviously, that's part of it. If somebody can't afford to work with me, then they're not gonna work with me, but being able to afford the price is not the main thing that determines whether or not they're gonna get into that program. So this is really a way to like pull my power back into the leadership role that I know I need to be in my business, where I'm trusting my own assessment of somebody's fit instead of just letting that person decide if they think they're a fit or deciding, okay, well, you said you're ready. You said you're ready to pay for it. So that means you can come into the program. So that is a big change. We did have some qualifications like the type of business and all of that. But for this new signature offer, it's going to be very selective, essentially. And so this is really going to create those conditions where I can have the best possible fit, the people who get the best possible results, the best experience for everybody, especially given that this is going to be like a collective experience where people are in a group. It's not just like one on one clients. And it's going to create the best possible experience for everybody, myself, my team, and my clients to have those stricter guidelines about who we accept into the program. And ultimately, this goes back to that idea that I am putting myself and my needs and my energy as the forefront of all decisions I'm making for 2026. And I want to have a group that I feel is all fully qualified and fully ready to do the work. And so that's why I'm making one of the big reasons I'm making this decision. And again, I actually think it's going to be better for everybody involved, including my clients. So I know that overall it's a good decision. I'm leading with that desire to create what I want. Now, these were big changes, and I've been noodling on this for a few weeks, probably a few months at this point, and even when I was gonna go pull the trigger and send the email to my email list about this NBA program being closed after this month, that took a lot of courage. It really was pretty nerve-wracking to say, "I'm going to dismantle everything I've built in the last 5 to 6 years." And I know there's a lot of concerns that can come up about, like, how are people gonna perceive this? Are they gonna understand why I'm doing it? What are people gonna think? And I had to just be like, "I don't care about all of that. I am making this decision from a place of knowing what's best for my business, and also what's best for the new version of me that exists in 2026 that is different than the version of me that existed in 2020 when this program was first built." And I really believe that when it comes to scaling a business, there can be a season that you have to descale or unscale. I don't know which word would be the better word, But you have to really dismantle and build down things, reduce size, close down income streams, like make some potentially scary decisions to be able to rebuild something that's gonna not only fit your life better, but then actually scale more easily. And I also had to trust that serving fewer people in a more effective way is actually a more profitable path for me than trying to serve a larger number of people in a more broad way. Now, I know I talk about this all the time about niching down specificity, but I really had to like revisit my own offer suite and apply it to myself. Now, this can go against what a lot of like the bro marketers are teaching about scaling, where it's like just get as many people into your programs as possible and maximize the conversion rate and just, dismantle the objections and sell, sell, sell. And fine, if that's what you want to do, great. I don't want to do that. I want to really have a curated program experience. And so this is not about getting as many people as possible into my programs. It's about getting the right people so that I love my business and that my clients get the best possible results. So if that's inspiring to you, I hope that it gives you some courage to make some big decisions about what that might look like for your business, because I know a lot of the people I work with, especially at the one-on-one level, they've been in business for years, and what they built a few years ago is no longer serving them, and they do have to go through this dismantling process that can feel very scary. It can feel like a lot of sunk costs of things that you've spent a lot of time building that now need to be rebuilt. But ultimately, that slow down to speed up experience can really make a huge impact on your long-term business success. Now, after we made the decisions about all of the offer changes, the offer redesign, the closing down of the MBA program, the recreating of new programs, now that needs to also be reflected in the way that I position myself publicly and the way that I share my messaging. So raising your prices, you can like raise them here and there, but if you're really going to be like, okay, I'm actually moving into a new category of price point, you have to be able to attract the people who are a fit for that price point. It's not about making people spend money they didn't want to spend. It's about speaking to the person who is ready and willing and able to spend the money that you want to charge for your services. So when you raise your prices, you really have to look at, okay, am I positioning my business, my brand as a premium brand? And if not, what needs to change? So for me, again, going back to that identity work, I had to really revisit, okay, how do I want to present in the marketplace? I want to present as a premium brand, not in a way that's like this performative wealth, like flashing purses and shoes kind of premium, but really just like having that premium energy and connecting with people who seek premium services. So I'm actually somebody who appreciates premium services, likes to spend money, likes to have luxury experiences, quality when I'm purchasing things. And so I know what I am looking at when I'm identifying a premium brand. And yes, I know like again, flashing your Birkin bag can demonstrate that you have money, but that's not necessary to be able to create that premium energy around your brand. So to do that, we're looking at messaging as well as branding. Now, the branding piece is interesting because I'm looking at like colors, names of the programs, fonts, things that maybe seem a little bit frivolous, but honestly can make a huge difference in the way that you are perceived in the market. So we're making some adjustments to that. I'll probably hire a brand designer at some point to actually come in and solidify those changes, but that is something that I have been working on over the last few weeks to kind of like brainstorm about what can that look like. But really, the messaging and the way that I talk about things is the thing that needs to change the most. And so that's like, how do I talk about stuff on my podcast? How do I talk about stuff in emails? What kind of blogs are we putting up? What am I putting on Threads, Instagram, like all the places that I'm showing up publicly? I need to be thinking about, okay, what kind of message is going to connect with the person who's going to be the best fit for this new signature offer that I am redesigning. So we've been working with a lot of people at this level where they already have an established business. They have a program. The program's not going away, but they need to attract a better quality buyer. I say better quality in the sense that They get better results when they're in the program. They'll spend more money. They buy quickly. They don't need a lot of handholding during the sales process to make the purchase. And it's just a really easy experience for the business owner to enroll that person and then serve them. So I've been working on that with a few one-on-one clients, and that honestly is one of my top level skill sets when I work with a client at that level is messaging and conversion enhancement, things like message specificity, offer positioning, sales funnel optimization. All of that stuff is stuff I do really well. I'm able to help people at a high level. And I mentioned before when I was in that mastermind and I was getting voted most valuable member at events, I think that's really where that skill set came in, where I was able to diagnose what is going on in this funnel, what is going on in this offer, what is going on in this business that is suboptimal, and how do we optimize it. So I'm doing that with my one-on-one clients and seeing some really incredible results. Things where people would have had to take days and days to convert a client and multiple messages back and forth, and then they would get ghosted, to now they have somebody apply and enroll without even having to have a sales conversation, and then they pay in full. That's so exciting to me. I love that kind of result for people. And so I want to then see, okay, how do I apply that to my business? How do I elevate my offer? How do I upgrade my client avatar? How do I put my positioning at a place where it attracts the person who is actually the best fit for the services I have to offer? So, when you want to go premium, when you want to raise your prices, your messaging has to match the sophistication of the buyer. Market sophistication is something I teach in the MBA program. So if you're in MBA, you know I talk about this, and it's going to be something that I continue to teach because it's so important. But it basically means you can't use beginner language to attract advanced clients. You can't talk about, 101 level topics and expect to attract somebody that's already been through years worth of the 101 stuff, right? So this works in nutrition businesses, this works in business coaching, this works in any sort of coaching expert practitioner type of business. And this year is when I'm going to revisit it and fully apply it to me and my business. Because, first of all, that's what's best for me. Second of all, I want to have a better experience of enrolling people who are qualified and make decisions quickly and don't have to be hemming and hawing about the investment because they're so afraid. What if it doesn't work? What if I can't make it back? Like, I don't wanna be working with people that are so terrified about the investment that they're, like, in panic mode the whole time that we're working together. I want people to come in and be like, "Yeah, it's a big investment. It feels like an up-leveling decision, but I'm excited about it." That's the kind of person I wanna be attracting. So that requires me to shift my messaging. So, this is like a work in progress. I'm still thinking about, okay, what is the exact point of purchase that I wanna get at for this particular offer, because really there are so many ranges, there are so many different starting points, and I really need to narrow down into, okay, what's the person who's going to be the best fit for what I do? And I'm gonna start applying that in my messaging to really catch the people who are truly aligned fits for the higher level work that I wanna do with people. So, basically what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna start talking about more complicated topics, things that would probably go over the head of somebody who's never run a business before, but they're things that people think about when they have been running a business for a while. So, it's things like conversion rates and funnel building and lifetime customer value and continuity offers and all of that stuff that when you're starting a business, you don't have to think about that stuff. You don't need to worry about it at all. But when you've been running a business for a while and you're at that like 10, 20, 30K level and you want to get to 40, 50, 100K in your business every month, these are the things you have to be thinking about. So I want to start bringing that into the conversation way more so that people understand publicly that I can help them with that kind of stuff. And I'm going to have to then stop talking so much about the entry level problems because that's going to be actually a turn off to the people that I want to work with and the people who have already either figured that stuff out, have been taught that before. Doesn't mean that they can't get help with it, but it's not something that's going to get them moving into my offers quickly because they feel like they're already past that. So really that's where I'm bringing in that diagnostic thinking, the pattern recognition, the systems optimization that is really my max skill set. It's the skill set that really was most appreciated by my 7 and multi 7 figure peers in that mastermind. And then I'm also bringing in that NLP mindset work that can unlock the things that strategy alone can't. So that mix of skill sets that really works best for a multi six figure practitioner or coach is what I'm going to start digging into and really presenting as my public facing messaging so that the people who are the right fit are attracted instantly. Now, I've gone over the 3 changes, the 3 things that I'm going to be doing in 2026 to have the most profitable year ever is my prediction. I'm calling it now for myself. That is the identity work. Who am I being? How am I showing up? How am I seeing myself? Am I allowing myself to show up as what I'm fully capable of? Or am I continuing to allow these traumatic experiences to make me shrink? We're leaving that in 2025. I had my first therapy session a few days ago, and we're doing it. So we're going through the integrative identity work to really position me as the person who can lead this new business. We're looking at the offer suite. So dismantling my almost 6-year-old signature program that has served hundreds of coaches and practitioners and has earned over $2 million in sales for me and my business, and reinventing a different offer suite that serves people at the proper time in their business and concentrates my time and energy in the category of business owner that I get most excited by, and really make that my core offer that I'm putting all of my energy both publicly and privately into, and turning it back into that cohort model where I can be selling a handful of times a year and then really be diving deep and serving people in a very deep way for 8 out of the 12 months of the year. And then part 3 is updating my messaging and my brand to then present this more effectively. So what I'm talking about, the language that I'm using, the problems that I discuss, the mindset shifts, and even the visual branding, the colors, the fonts, the names of the program, all of that is going to be repositioned so that it speaks to a higher level buyer, somebody who has more success already, somebody who has the money to pay me what I know my skill set is actually valued at, and who can come into the program and really thrive and not be stressed about not knowing what they're doing or needing all the hand holding or, stressing about money. We're relieving all of that in the last 5 years, right? Like, I'm not doing that anymore, and it's going to require a lot more exclusivity around my offers, and I'm actually really excited about that. So ultimately, identity, offers, messaging, and brand, those are the things I'm changing. And this isn't just about making more money in 2026, although that's exciting. I really am looking forward to that. This is really about a complete business and life alignment. I want to be making more money. I want to be keeping more money while also working fewer hours and only working on the most energizing strategic work. So that means I'm not scattering my energy across a dozen different things, a dozen different types of problems, but I'm really getting deep into my zone of genius as a business mentor and designing containers that serve both me and my clients best and give everybody the best experience, me most of all. So ultimately, the foundation of all these decisions is that I'm choosing what's best for me. And it's not about being elitist or selfish or, fill in the blank, whatever words that can come up when you think about designing a business around what you want and what your goals are. It's really about creating a business that's energetically sustainable and produces better outcomes, because if you're excited about what you're doing, you feel appropriately compensated, you're jazzed up about all the things that you're creating in your business, your clients are going to also experience a much better program. And there's nothing selfish about that. Everybody can win in this scenario. And so I know that my impact is going to be so much bigger when I am concentrating that energy on a particular swath of people. And it's just going to require that I rebuild and start not from scratch, but like start from kind of like a clean slate in 2026. So this is really like the year to come. It's telling you, what to expect, what's coming, both at the end of this month when enrollment for NBA is closing, and then also what's coming down the pipeline when we reopen these new offers. That is stuff I'll be sharing with you. I'll be sharing kind of the building process, sharing the decision-making process, but I just wanted to tell you about what's been going on behind the scenes here for me, for the decisions I'm making, for the evolution that's coming in the business, the way that I'm letting go of things that technically work and have been working and help people and, all of the things. It's not that anything is broken, it's that it's not where I see myself going in the future. So, as they say, what got you here won't get you there. And the next level of growth often requires a different structure, different types of people that you're working with or interacting with, a different energy that you're bringing into things. And it's really about choosing to lead, to trust yourself, to be in that leadership energy, to choose alignment over accommodation. For me, it's choosing depth over breadth. I really, really love going deep with people. And a lot of it really comes down to owning what's actually most valuable about me as an expert and applying that to the business and not accommodating what everybody wants from me just because I can. So, 2026 is the year that I stop giving my power away. I stop betraying my own desires for other people, whoever they are, and that I'm really building something that is going to really light me up and really serve my clients as best as possible. So, if you are an established coach or practitioner who's hit a structural ceiling, if you're exhausted from trying to serve everyone and over delivering in your programs, if you know that you're ready for the next level, but you really can't see that path for yourself because you're just too much in it, there's too much baggage that is clouding your judgment there, then I am the coach for you. I'm the person who's going to help you not have to work so hard for the sales that you're making, to be able to realign who your best fit clients are and really get fully, like, heck yes, excitement energy about the people coming into your program, and really getting to a place where the business is serving you, not just serving your customers. So this is the work I do best, combining that clinical diagnostic expertise and systems thinking with 14 years of business strategy and NLP training. And this year is really the year I am fully stepping into this premium positioning. I'm healing the drama from my past that has kept me playing small. And I'm really taking my power back and choosing not only what's best for me, but also what's best for the people who I know I'm best fit to serve. So, all that to say, this is my formal public announcement that the Nourish Business Accelerator, as it currently exists, is closing at the end of January. That doesn't mean that I'm not serving the people. So if you're somebody who just joined or you're applying this month, please know that you are going to get everything and probably even a bigger level of excitement from me than, if you had joined a few years ago. Like, it's not that I wasn't serving people well, but I just feel like this energy is really back for me. And so I'm going to be pouring it into the NBA clients that are joining, whether they're there now or they're joining in January. You're going to get lifetime access to the curriculum. So lifetime of the business, not my lifetime or your lifetime, but basically as long as we own the portal, you guys can be using that content as much as you want. You're going to get 6 months of high touch access to me and my team, which once this new offer is created, it's going to be a much more premium priced level to get access like that to me. And you're going to get all of the curriculum that I've built over the last 6 years that can serve you at so many different levels. And like I said, you're not going to lose access to that at the end of the 6 months when we officially transition into this new model. So the foundational curriculum is not going away. It's just being redesigned, repurposed, reorganized. And this is really going to be the absolute best time to get in to NBA if you've been thinking about joining, if you've been contemplating working with me, because honestly, this is going to be the lowest cost investment for the highest level of access to me that will probably ever exist again. So you will need to apply by January 31st. On February 1st, applications are closed for good. And the NBA, as it currently exists, will no longer be enrolling, and you'll have to wait until the new offers are released to work with me again. So if you've been following me for a while, if you have been on my email list or listening to this podcast for a while and you've been thinking about joining the NBA, I truly encourage you to do it now. Not only will you get the absolute best possible experience for the lowest possible investment, you will also get to keep the curriculum for a long time. It's not going to go away. And you'll also get priority access to any new offers, including price discounts, because I always honor the investments my previous clients have made when they're coming into a new container. So you'll actually get priority access and priority pricing on the new offers that are coming down the pipeline for 2026. So don't wait and regret missing this opportunity. If the NBA has been calling to you, now is the time to apply. And if you're qualified to join, you do need to apply and enroll before January 31st to get in. So just to wrap things up, all of this was about, for me, making 2026 my most profitable year possible. Ultimately, it required me to get really, really honest with myself about what I was tolerating, what I was accommodating, what was draining me, about who I actually am as a person and how I'm designed to work best, what I'm truly brilliant at, who gets the most value from that. I had to really examine the wounds I was carrying and how they were keeping me playing smaller than I actually should be playing, and really noticing where I was giving my power away and bringing it back to me. So, the profitability of this year is going to come from the alignment of all of those major factors. That alignment will come from me healing the, you know, past that I am leaving in 2025 and really choosing me and trusting myself fully with the business and the direction that we're going in. So, my encouragement to you is that when you stop fighting yourself, when you stop selling yourself short, when you stop letting past experiences dictate your future, when you stop giving your power away to anyone or anything that wants it from you, that is when everything in your business and life gets easier and more lucrative. 2026 is my year to prove that, and I'm bringing you along for the ride. This is what it looks like when you finally choose yourself and your desires and needs over anybody else's. When you take your power back and when you decide what's best for you is also what's best for your business. I know I'm done giving my power away, and if you are too, I am so happy to have you on this journey with me. Thanks for hanging out. I'll look forward to seeing you here next week on the Nourish CEO podcast. Take care, everybody. If you're listening to this and realizing that you're ready for more in your business, more income, more alignment, more confidence in the value of your work, then I want to invite you into a deeper level of support. Inside my mentorship, the Nourished Business Accelerator, I help coaches and experts like you create a premium offer that reflects the actual transformation they deliver and build a clean, sustainable system for enrolling dream clients consistently, all without cold DMs, manipulative tactics, or high-pressure sales calls that make your stomach turn. Everything we do is grounded, ethical, and designed to help you grow with integrity and ease. When you're doing work that runs this deep, you deserve real mentorship from someone who's been through every season of business and can walk you through it step by step. And the truth is, growth feels so much more aligned and so much more powerful when you're surrounded by an intimate group of ambitious, ethical entrepreneurs who are committed to building their businesses the right way, not the hustly, performative way that the online world so often pushes. Most people don't realize how heavy their business feels until they finally experience what it's like to be supported at this high of a level. The NBA is the space where you will stop second-guessing yourself, stop piecing things together alone, and step fully into the leadership and strategy that make your business feel profitable, spacious, and deeply aligned with who you are. So, if you're ready to grow your business in a way that honors your expertise, supports your offline life, and helps you impact more clients without burning yourself out in the process, the NBA is your next step. To learn more or apply now, send me a DM on Instagram with the word NBA to @LauraSchoenfeldRD, or you can check the show notes for the link. I would love to support you as you grow into your next level as an online entrepreneur.